Is this normal during sex? Today, I will answer the 5 most asked questions about whether or not things you have experienced during sex are normal. And I am talking specifically to women and people with a vagina. Let's get started. Is squirting during sex normal? Yes. Totally. When we are talking about squirting, we are not referring to wetness or small amounts of discharge you might get during sexual intercourse. No. Some women release a lot of fluid and it might look like they are peeing, but it is not pee. Women who have experienced this before will tell you that it is a clear or milky fluid, doesn't look anything like urine and does not smell like urine. Actually, we call it female ejaculation. During sexual stimulation, this fluid is released by the skin glands, also known as the paraurethral glands. This fluid then drains into the tube that passes urine, and so it mixes with some urine. So it is not purely urine, but has some traces of urine. Does squirting mean that something is wrong with you? No. I actually find that most women associate squirting with intense sexual pleasure, and it is an exciting thing even for their partner because, they feel like, I made you do that. The amount of fluid released during squirting is different in different women. For some, it's just, a small release, and for others, it's a lot of fluid. Actually, it splashes all over. Both scenarios, it is totally normal. What you should be concerned about is if the fluid looks or smells purely like urine. This could indicate coital incontinence. This is the involuntary release of urine during penetration or during orgasm. If you feel that this is what is happening, please make sure you bring it up with your doctor for an accurate diagnosis. You should not panic because it is nothing life-threatening. Number 2, is queefing normal during sex? Yes, it is. For those who don't know what queefing is, it is release of air trapped inside the vagina. It sounds exactly like farting, but unlike fart that is coming from an area with poop and bacteria, it does not smell. During sex, there is a lot of motion, thrusting, and during this, air gets trapped inside the vagina. The vagina has one opening. One, because the cervix is too small. So the air eventually has to come out. So, what goes in has to come out, So when the penis is removed, air also comes out, producing a sound similar to that of farting. So it is a natural process that you should not feel ashamed of. And also, your partner should not make you feel bad about it. If they do, bring them and make them watch this video. Number 3, is bleeding during sex or after sex normal? It depends, and I'm going to give you different scenarios and tell you if they are normal or not. Scenario 1, you noticed a spot of blood on your tissue when wiping yourself or on your panties after sex. This is normal. Sex involves a lot of friction, and sometimes if there is not enough lubrication, it could lead to a tear on the vaginal wall. Hence, you may notice small traces of blood. So this is totally normal, and the vagina heals itself, so it should not worry you. Scenario 2, this is your first time having sex and you notice blood coming out of the vagina. Again, not a pool of blood, just a small amount. This is because when it is your first time having sex, the hymen has partially blocked the opening, and during sex, the hymen is stretched. So it is blocking, partially. Maybe it looks something like this, and so during sex, it becomes stretched. Okay, leading to a tear. Hence, you notice some little bleeding. But not all women experience bleeding during their first time. And I know, this is contrary to popular opinion that, you have to bleed during sex. This is not a good measure of whether a person is a virgin or not. Scenario 3, you start bleeding during sex and the bleeding continues even after sex, and sometimes it is associated with some pain. This is not normal, and if this happens, you need to visit your doctor for an accurate diagnosis. Several things can cause bleeding during sex, such as an injury to the vagina, sexually transmitted infections such as gonorrhea, chlamydia, and trichomoniasis. Another cause of bleeding during sex, and this is very, very rare, is cervical cancer. And I am not trying to scare you off. Oftenly, this is associated with lots of bleeding, heavy periods, bleeding in between your periods, blood in urine. So if you are experiencing bleeding during or after sex, the best thing is to visit your doctor. Number 4, is pain during sex normal? No. Sex should not be painful. Sex is meant to give you pleasure and not distress. So don't sit there and bear with painful sex because you are ashamed, or maybe someone on TikTok told you that it is normal, that it gets better with time. No, there are many things that may cause pain during sex, such as endometriosis, vaginal dryness, injury to the vagina. I have made a video on the causes of painful sex and how you should deal with it, so please check it out. Number 5, can you be allergic to your partner's sperms? Yeah, you can. Sometimes 10 to 30 minutes after sexual intercourse, and I mean if sperms are deposited in your vagina, you might get redness around the vulva, swelling, itching, pain, and a burning sensation. For some women, they get these signs only on the vulva, but for some it affects their entire body, actually leading to anaphylaxis, where they are having trouble breathing. Hey, today what's wrong? Trouble breathing. Their entire body is swelling. This has often been confused with vaginitis or a vaginal yeast infection or an STI. The best way to know if you really have a sperm allergy is to use a condom. If when you use a condom you don't get these signs, then you are allergic to your partner's sperms. I know it's a lot to take in, but the best approach is to see your gynecologist. They can involve an allergist to confirm that it is actually a sperm allergy. And there are various treatment options that they can suggest, such as desensitization, antihistamines. You could also choose to use protection during sex. And no, it does not affect your fertility, and you can get pregnant. And there are ways for a woman to become pregnant even if they have sperm allergy. The sperms, are taken, they are washed, removing the allergens, and then they are introduced to the woman through artificial insemination or in vitro fertilization, that is IVF. If you want to know what happens to women, and to be more specific, the vagina, when you stop having sex, then I am going to leave that video over there. But don't click on it just yet. Make sure to subscribe if you want to keep learning more with Dr. Raisha. Okay? See you over there.